Welcome back to DBU. Thanks for watching. Like our last lecture, I'm going to break today's topic into a few episodes. Today we're going to focus just on the war of currents, or the history of electricity. Why electricity? Well, years ago I was sitting at a bench with a student discussing DC power as he sat there dumbfounded, admitting he had no idea what I was talking about. I had asked him, well, didn't they teach you about DC in high school? He responded, not really. After asking if any of my students knew the basics of electricity and got a no, I quickly realized how our school system has failed us. You see, our entire world is dependent on this phenomena, and few actually understand how it works. Ever since then, I started including this material in my lectures. In a nutshell, electricity is simply the potential movement of electrons from one place to another. The first thing I expect students to know is that there are at least two forms of electricity: alternating current and direct current. With direct current, the current moves in one direction, either continuously or in a pulse. The voltage measure is either fixed positive or negative. For example, as with phantom power, which we use for condenser microphones, we would express it by saying plus 48 volts, because it has a positive DC voltage. With alternating current, the current alternates in magnitude and direction. The voltage can be measured as peak, peak to peak, or RMS, which means root mean square. Both of these forms of electricity effectively had their birth in the late 1800s, although we do have research and patents that date back much earlier than that. Thomas Edison, who's the father of recording technology, by the way, was one of the first to tinker with DC. He had been experimenting with moving DC current through a finely coiled wire inside a vacuum-sealed bulb. Eventually, he perfected it. We know it as the light bulb today. At the same time, there was another developer, George Westinghouse. He had devised a similar system, but his used high-voltage arc lamps, which operated off of an AC generator. In arc lamps, electricity actually jumps between two electrodes in a gas-filled envelope, and the spark is what creates the light. Interestingly enough, Nikola Tesla was the common ingredient in the evolution of both forms of electricity. Unfortunately, he was not as shrewd a businessman as he was an inventor. Tesla got royally screwed over by an ethically questionable move made by Edison, and then got equally hosed when a bankrupt and desperate Westinghouse took advantage of him before electricity really hit the big time. Tesla died penniless and lonely, taking many of his secrets on wireless power to the grave. He remains a cult figure in electricity today, mainly because of his larger-than-life persona. Ultimately, there were problems with both systems. Westinghouse's system of arc lamps required high-voltage lines to be strung up around the city to feed the lamps. It worked fine-ish, until skies got crowded with lines, people started getting electrocuted by high voltages. Never one to let a good tragedy go to waste, Edison capitalized on this PR opportunity to attack his rival and pimped his DC system at Westinghouse's expense. He held public executions of circus animals right there in the city square to demonstrate the horrors of AC. Edison's DC approach appeared to be safer than Westinghouse's due to the underground cabling and lower voltages, but it required thicker cabling and a nearby power station wherever you wanted to put the light. Having DC generators on every street corner just wasn't a very practical approach. So these two men went at each other in the courts and in the press until it was finally decided at the World's Fair in 1893 that the Westinghouse-Tesla AC system was the clear winner. The two successfully lit the entire campus, dealing a severe blow to Edison's former company, General Electric. From that point, GE went AC. Essentially, AC was proven easier to be distributed over long distances. Once it was fully implemented, the agreed standard for North America was 110 volts at 60 hertz. We still use this today. So how does any of this relate to audio? Well, in audio, we use the AC complements of Westinghouse from the wall to provide power to our equipment and to produce the actual audio signal. DC, complements of Edison, on the other hand, is used to power the actual audio circuit. You see, audio gear needs both forms of power to work because gear cannot operate directly on AC power. It will blow circuits up. We first have to convert it into something that our electronics can handle. We call this process rectification, where a transformer and rectifier work together to convert the AC into a lower voltage DC, usually much lower, like 18 volts or less. Tube equipment, which is all the rage today, operates a lot higher, upwards of 400 volts DC. I've been zapped by that before, and let me tell you what, it hurts like a bitch. There are some pieces of audio gear that can actually take advantage of both forms of electricity to operate. Laptops, field recorders, and stomp boxes being some prime examples. In this case, the battery or the wall wart effectively performs as an AC to DC converter. That wraps up my brief lecture on the war of currents. I encourage you to subscribe to my content, leave a comment, and check back for more stuff. Thank you for watching. Until next time, cheers.